Hello, welcome to the channel. In the grand tradition of reviewing cars, I'm standing in an empty car park, and this is a Lexus GS460 2008 model. These are made from 2008 until 2011, but worldwide they only sold 1,748, and 1,600 of those were actually sold in 2008. After that they barely sold at all. And in Australia it's generally agreed that they sold less than 100 of them, so it's quite a rare car. Of course, the main appeal of this car compared to other GS models is the 1UR FSE engine, which was also used in the LS460. As usual, there's very little to see under the bonnet because it's all covered in plastic panels. Perfectly normal battery. Like the LS460, it actually has radar cruise control, although for some reason it doesn't control the car going down a hill. It'll let you speed up. Lexus say the car can do 0 to 100 in 5.8 seconds, although in America they said it did 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds, which seems like quite a big gap. It has a 8-speed automatic and feels like it has quite tall gearing overall. First gear is not particularly low. Slightly confusing thing about this model is that although it had the exact same engine as an LS460, it had a different power output quoted. In the LS they say it makes 280 kilowatts, whereas in this model they say 255. Whether or not there's really any difference between the two motors, I don't know. But as it happens, my dad's got an LS460, so I might have the opportunity to dyno both of them and find out what the truth is. It's a little bit suspicious that making this one 255 gave it exactly the same power to weight ratio as the LS. The 2008 model was also a slight visual update on the model. So the grille was done a bit differently. The chrome came right out to this light here instead of having a coloured strip in between. And I think the wheels were updated and a few other little things like that. But overall, much the same car. The 460 had a little spoiler on the boot, but otherwise it was a very subtle car. You wouldn't know that it was packing a lot more power than the other GS's. The new price of this car was $139,000, which made it the most expensive GS model, although it was still 45 grand cheaper than the LS460. So some people bought this just because it was a cheaper option. And interestingly, it has pretty much all of the same features that the LS had. It's just slightly smaller and around 200 kilos lighter. I just bought this one yesterday for $20,000. It's got 157,000 kilometers on the clock, which is low when you think about it. It's 17 years old, so that's less than 10,000 a year. And as you can see, it's in pretty good shape. Clean interior, but it's spent a bit of time in the sun because the top of the wheel is faded there. Even the top of the key knob has faded a little bit. This car has had the factory infotainment and aircon controls replaced entirely by this panel with a big touchscreen. Personally, I don't mind the old system, but it doesn't hurt having this. It's got Android connectivity and some USB outputs to charge your phone, so not a bad thing. There's a 14-speaker sound system with a subwoofer on the rear shelf, so that's not too bad either. The seats are heated and cooled, which I'm a big fan of, especially given that they're black leather. Something you might not find when you first hop in the car is this panel beside the steering wheel, which has got your mirror controls and trip computer controls. There are a lot of buttons, so I can see why they didn't put them all up on the door. My door is already busy because it's got the seat presets and the all-automatic window controls, and it's an old enough car to have a real cigarette lighter in it, which thankfully has never been used. Interesting sort of 2-layer bin in the console, which you can slide forward as well. The back seats are quite pleasant too, with some air conditioning vents, but no USBs or anything that you might find in a more modern car. The roof is also quite low, partly because of the sunroof, so it's not ideal for very tall people. And there's a ski port between the back seats. There's also a couple of cup holders there. The boot is reasonably large, reasonably long at least, whereas the earlier Aristo and GS models had a fuel tank behind the back seats. They moved it down underneath on this model, so that gives you a bit more practical boot shape. Comes with a first aid kit and some tools and a full-size spare. Under this panel at the back you'll also find the Mark Levinson amplifier. The styling of the 190 series is really quite closely related to the original 147 series GS or Aristo, although that one was designed by Giugiaro, whereas this one was done by Japanese designers. It's got lots of little nicks and scratches on it, as you'd expect for a car this age, but overall it's held up pretty well. I'm going to be using this car as my new project. I'll be doing a variety of modifications to it, but nothing that can't be returned to standard if I want to later. So as usual, thanks for watching. I'll be back again soon with more stories about this car and also my other projects. Cheers.